Every issue has two sides. Most shows pick one. We argue both. Not for clicks, not for comfort, but because the truth loves tension between ideas, power, and the people they affect. This is Mike and Nick. Left versus right. 30 minutes. No talking points, no safe takes, no holds barred. Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go. My tribute to the great Don Cherry.
Don Cherry, yeah. Let's go.
Nick, you're a Toronto guy.
You got to get the flow better, Mike.
You want to do the intro next time?
Maybe I should.
I'm happy to share the spotlight with you, Nick Ies. Hey, you grew up a Leafs fan?
I did. Back in the day.
Were you a big fan of the...
I love the Leafs, and back in the day, I guess even when I was a young kid, I loved the Edmonton Oilers, but I also liked the Islanders.
Well, the Islanders had that juggernaut before the Oilers took over.
I liked Edmonton, and then I had a friend who said, "Why you like those guys?" Oh, man, you got to go with the Islanders. They're rough and tough, so I switched sides quick.
You switched. You know what you are? You're a jumper of the bandwagons.
I am not.
Now you're on the Brad Bradford bandwagon.
Yeah, that's right.
So, my friend, I can't wait. We only talked a week ago. Typically, we go 2 weeks between conversations and let things, build up. So we're gonna, reset and just take care of some of the missing middle. See, I'm talking your language. The missing middle. We're gonna do a little mop up here.
Keep going. Well, you know what? I want to just say one thing.
Say anything.
This is a good point. I'm saying. If you don't,
I'm giving you
stop interrupting.
I'm giving you the safety to say as you will.
No, I don't need safety. I don't want safety. The truth has tension. Okay, so what I'm saying is, Mike, we need to start talking about the Toronto election eventually. That's going to be a big
they haven't
topic.
but they haven't even started the campaign yet. It doesn't start till May 1st.
That's around the corner.
Well, let's find out. First of all, we don't even know who's running. We only know that
is Chow running?
Most likely. So it's probably Olivia Chow versus Brad Bradford. But let's find out if somebody drops out of the sky to make it, a three-person contest. But right now it does look like Olivia Chow versus Brad Bradford. So if you like how Olivia Chow has ran the city the last 3 years, you'll probably vote to re-elect her. And if you want change, you're probably going to vote for Brad Bradford. And you feel there's more people looking for change than there are people who enjoy the status quo.
Yeah, I'm supporting Brad. That's it. He's going to win. We got to get rid of Chow once and for all, for good. She's never to return to politics.
That's what Nick says. Well, maybe she'll retire. She's a grandmother. She's in her
she's a nice lady,
60s.
I'm sure.
She is. I've met her. She seems like a nice lady. But can I ask you, what is it exactly that you dislike about Olivia Chow?
Everything? No.
Is it that she was a member of the NDP party? Is that it? When she wore the orange, she said, "I'm done with this woman."
Well, obviously. Okay. I mean, and I can't stand the NDP. It's the worst political party in Canadian history, I guess. But what I will say about Olivia Chow is that she's not very good at her job.
You think this city of Toronto...
She is not good for this job, period.
Were we better off 3 years ago when John Tory was mayor?
I didn't like John Tory either.
What did you think of Rob Ford?
He didn't do anything.
What did you think of Rob Ford? I've never asked you. What were your thoughts during the a short term there, because they kind of took his powers away?
He was like a lot of people loved him, but I was not. I was kind of like on the fence. He had a lot of problems.
What did you think of David Miller?
He had a lot of problems, and David Miller was terrible too. So Brad Bradford's going to be great.
Nobody's going to beat Brad Bradford, says Nick.
I like Mel Lastman. Mel Lastman was a good mayor.
That was the first megacity mayor, and it sounds like the only megacity mayor you liked.
I like Mel Lastman because you know what? He was a good promoter. He's a good promoter of the city. I think that's a very important part of the job is to promote Toronto, promote the city, bring people, bring parties here to invest in Toronto. So that's got to be a big focus.
Now, when John Tory was first elected mayor, he defeated Olivia Chow, who finished third, and Doug Ford, who took Rob's spot on the ballot because Rob was battling cancer. And I think Rob ran for city councillor. But Doug Ford, since our last conversation, there was quite a bit of chatter. I wanted to ask for your thoughts on this.
I thought we were starting. Okay, so
yeah, this is just why can't you hold my hand and trust me a little bit? Yeah, I'm segueing over. Doug Ford, premier of hold my hand, Nick. It's a safe space. Okay, Doug Ford, his party, the Progressive Conservative Party, they purchased a private jet for Doug Ford. They called it, the media and some people I know and love decided to call this the gravy plane.
The gravy plane, yeah.
Well, what does Nick think of the gravy plane?
I loved it. I think it's a good idea.
Okay, because he's already sold it.
I know, I heard.
So do you think...
He bowed down to pressure and he sold it. I'm not sure if that was a good idea. I think there's lots of other, sort of states or other provinces that have these private jet planes.
But not for the premiers. Like, there's no other province in this country that has...
Quebec
No. They have private jets, but not for the premier. That was a misunderstanding. There was a great article in the Toronto Star.
Well, you know what they should have probably done was say, "Hey, here's my jet. When I'm not using it, I'm billing it out."
So you
so
feel
there could
like
have been some revenue to offset the cost.
Doug Ford needed a private jet, you're saying?
Well, Ontario is the biggest economic province in the country, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So why shouldn't he get one? Like, he should be bringing opportunity here. If he has to run around and fly places to create opportunities for Ontario and make it easier for him, I think it's a really good idea. It's a great investment, actually.
Okay, but this begs the question, Nick. So if this was a great idea and a great investment, and of course the party approved it and the purchase was made, what are your thoughts on Doug Ford hearing some negative feedback and reversing it so completely that he's already sold it back to Bombardier?
Well, he made that decision. I would say he should have stood his ground. If it was in the interest of Ontario for real, and it could have been. Now, I don't believe about these remote areas. I hear the airports aren't conducive to jets landing in remote areas and stuff like that. But I think he should have stood his ground. And I'm a little bit disappointed that he reversed his decision. He's done that before, and I think if you're going to be you're the biggest province in Canada, you make the most money in Canada, it's a great investment. Fly, promote, invest in Ontario.
Interesting, though, that he flip-flops so quickly when he sees that this might affect his approval rating.
I don't know why he would want to worry about that. He's kind of locked in for a few years.
Yes, he is. Yeah.
Yeah. So
I think the next provincial election is 2030.
People would have forgot about the gravy train. I mean, gravy plane.
The gravy plane.
Yeah.
So I love that term for it. No, listen, that's the origin there. It was Doug Ford it was his brother who came to power talking about the gravy train. Yeah. And it was really just a counselor who had a cappuccino machine in his office.
Yeah, no, I mean, listen, I got one thing about the Fords is that they are kind of somewhat, I don't know what's the word, outrageous at times.
Populists.
They say these outrageous things and then they retract them, and then they, it's kind of, they flip-flop a bit. But, I mean, a lot of good things he's doing for the province. I think he's probably the best leader for Ontario.
I need that list of the good things he's doing.
But I'm not too happy about. Did you hear about that on Ontario secrecy law?
Oh my God, I was going to go there next because I would say, as you call me a lefty, I read that script in the beginning and it says left versus right. I don't actually identify as a lefty, but I know.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
No, I don't.
Yes, you do.
That's because I bike.
What is the color of your sweater right now?
Red.
Yeah, there you
go. Shout out to my daughter's school, McGill. Yeah. So I would say the gravy plane is really low on the list of concerns I have about this progressive conservative government. I didn't even complain about it on my blog or on my podcast or on social media. What I am absolutely concerned about is Ontario secrecy law.
Yeah, that's absolutely
Talk to me about this, Nick.
I agree with you totally. So, well, you tell me.
So Ontario's privacy and secrecy laws, it focuses on protecting personal information held by public institutions while providing access to government records under, I won't give you the initials, but there's a provincial and a municipal agency. But the new amendments that are been passed through in the dark of the night by the majority holding Progressive Conservative Party in this province is basically enhancing security. But this is the big thing. Excluding top officials from freedom of information requests. I'll say that again, Nick.
No way.
Excluding top officials like Doug Ford from freedom of information requests. That is not democratic, and that is scary to me.
No, there should be full transparency in government. And I think you and I are in total agreement on this. I don't see why we need to hide anything or why we should hold anything back from the public if requested. Number one, you got to be careful what you put in writing these days. So, I mean, anybody can just deal with things in a different way if they wanted to. If they wanted to be secretive about things, they don't have to write it. They don't have to. They can talk about it until
like
they're ready.
Deep Throat. Meet me in this parking lot.
Meet me in the parking lot.
We'll whisper.
I'm not saying that's a good idea either. However, transparency shouldn't go backwards. Okay.
Yeah, that's one of the pillars of democracy is transparency.
Yeah, you shouldn't have anything to hide.
If Doug's having on his personal cell phone, if he's conducting provincial business, we have a right to know.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you on this.
See, once in a while, Nick, you and I are on the exact same page, but we're not that, the gravy plane did not bother me, the gravy plane. I mean, Ontario's got this is the second largest budget in the country.
Get a freaking plane. So, like, what is this guy? Our premier is going to go coach?
No,
sit in coach.
You do know they have planes.
Class?
They just don't have these jets, but they have planes. Like he's been taken care of. He'll get around, Nick. He doesn't have to line up with you.
You got to get the jet. Go to the U.S. Class. Go do business.
I'm going Ontario. On a flight. I'm sitting beside Doug Ford. I don't think that's how it rolls down. But the secrecy,
he sits in coach.
He sits in coach, and he gets those little peanuts and he cracks them open. And I can see Doug having his peanuts here. Doug doesn't drink.
Interesting.
Yeah, he doesn't drink.
Unlike his brother.
But he's passionate about making alcohol freely available everywhere and anywhere. Yeah. So I just find it interesting. Like he's all about the buck of beer, and he's all about making sure if I go to Rabba's or 7-Eleven, I can grab myself a Great Lakes beer. But man, he's not going to touch it. That's for sure.
Well, it's interesting because Ontario controls all the alcohol in Ontario, which is not right. I don't agree with that. And in addition to that, they tax that to death. And then there's all this gambling that happens, and they're in control of that too. And that's these
so they can afford a private jet.
These should be privatized. I don't know. I disagree with that. And anyways, but yeah, that's what's happening with Doug Ford and some. I guess the jet didn't bother me, and I don't think it should bother everybody.
Didn't bother me.
But you know what? The secrecy law is a big
bothers
deal.
Me.
Yeah.
And there's seemingly nothing we can do to stop this because they have the majority. They've already rushed it through. Like they jammed it through because they all vote as one.
Well, you know what? He should backtrack on that. Not next.
Well, I think we have to make some noise. So maybe this episode begins the.
Well, all you lefties out there, go and make the noise.
Well, you're not a lefty, and you're making noise.
I am.
Okay, I'd like to see you on the bike trail.
I'm not joining the lefties, though. I'll tell you.
So Ontario is our home province, and we focus on it. But I am always interested in what's happening in other parts of the country. This lovely country of Canada, like Alberta, for example. Okay. What do you know about
Alberta's cool? I like Alberta.
Well, I like Alberta too. I've been to Alberta.
So it's an amazing place. You go to Lake Louise or Banff, and
I've been there.
Incredible,
gorgeous. Yeah, of course, Banff or Jasper.
That's amazing thing to have in your backyard if you're into Alberta.
Did you think I was going to crap on Alberta? I love Alberta,
and I love Danielle Smith. She's amazing.
Well, I think we can disagree on some things here, which is I feel like
she's really good. Actually, she's very articulate, very smart lady, and I know you're against women, but.
Oh my! It says the guy. You said that to the guy who was voting for Olivia Chow.
You're voting for Olivia Chow?
Twice.
And what about a third time?
We'll see. We'll see if people can see my fake mustache.
You better vote for Brad, by the way. So
we'll see. There's a long way to go before that one. But what do you know about Alberta moves? The regional tension.
Well, I mean, there's the so-called referendum. I think there's a push to change policy and fight the federal government on certain issues. I think that's probably a good thing.
Well, there's a very robust,
because I think they're having they make a lot of money in Alberta, and they seem to be paying a lot of money into the federal government. So I think they've got an issue with that.
I think when you dig into those numbers, you realize there's the imbalance is fiction, but there is. I can tell you, I have been reading about a very large cyber bot attack, if you will, that's using social media to basically push this agenda of Alberta joining the United States. And it does seem to resonate with some people who are, on Facebook, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it is people with an ulterior motive and not real humans.
Wasn't that a push from somewhere? Where was it? In the Netherlands, right?
It's but essentially what I worry about is how susceptible people on the right seem to be more susceptible than people on the left. These people,
are you kidding me?
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's the opposite. It's the opposite. You guys.
Why do you think Donald Trump changed to become a Republican? Why do you think he was a lifelong Democrat? Why did he become a Republican? You know why? Because Republican voters are
no, because he saw an opportunity. That's what he did.
Yes, and what is that opportunity?
The opportunity is
the grift is easier with Republican
be more
voters.
Conservative, because the left is insane right now. Joining the left would be like suicide. But anyways,
well, he can never come to power on the Democrat Party.
Listen,
that's for sure. Okay, so but the Alberta. Can I ask you this?
I'm not against lefties, but it's okay. I like to say that I am on the show, but
well, we're
really,
friends. We're friends, but. I understood. We all lived through the separatist movement when there was a referendum for Quebec. Okay, we all lived through this. Man, what a close vote that was. Except at least they have their own unique language. They have a distinct society. I don't fully understand the Alberta move to succeed from this country, because that doesn't exist. There is no unique.
Well, there. No, I would say. Well, first of all, they are unique. They have oil that no one else has. And they have a sort of culture that's slightly different.
Oil makes you unique? Okay.
Well, and there's also this friction between the, Ontario and the West. Maybe not BC, but more so on the oil producers. And there's a lot of policy coming out of the federal government that is anti-oil. They're pushing for, climate change policies that don't fit, and it's a problem.
I read this morning Carney's investing a bunch of money in a new pipeline, like a huge amount, billions of dollars into a new pipeline. Sorry, continue, Nick. I'm sorry.
You know what? I'll believe it when I see it. Okay,
I'll announce this morning.
Yeah, but it wasn't like that for many years, though. Okay, and I think Carney sees that, and you know what? He's taking this threat seriously, and I think that's why he changed his position. Number one, because we're having all these problems with the United States right now.
Yes.
But the second part of that is that if he doesn't play ball better and play fairer, nicer with Albertans, we're going to have a big problem.
We don't want a big problem.
And I think they're right. And I think they're right, because there is this sort of, here we're at the center, Ontario's at the center, and, there's this sort of isolation that we have in the West. So we, as Prime Minister or whoever's going to be taking the lead here, we have to bring Canada together.
He was raised in Edmonton. Mark Carney.
I don't care.
I'm just pointing it out. Fun fact.
Yeah, and he lived all over the world, and he's a globalist.
Sure, but he was raised in Alberta.
And, there's so many things wrong with him, so that's probably even worse.
He's got a majority. We talked about this last week.
If he's from Edmonton, it says it all.
Shout out to all the Edmontonians listening at home here. So let's keep our eye. Nick, let's agree to keep our eye.
I don't care where he's from. It doesn't matter where he's from.
Well, just fun fact.
There you go.
Let's keep our eye on what's happening in Alberta. I still believe it's a small minority of people who actually want to succeed from the country of Canada.
I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. That's all. I think they want to stay within Canada. It's probably going to stay within Canada. But I hear this is a policy from the United States. They're pushing this sort of division in Canada.
Sure.
And I've read stuff like that. I don't know if it's true. Because
Kuzma negotiations are ongoing, as you know, and this is absolutely a tactic. Is
USMCA or Kuzma?
Which one? I'm confused. You know which one. But Kuzma is
USMCA. Okay.
Yes.
Let's hear about it.
So we'll keep our eye on Alberta. But what I find interesting is that we did record a Mike and Nick last week. We typically do it every 2 weeks, but we had to do it again.
Are we going to talk about trade right now?
Well, hold on. You're so, you know what? I feel like you want to drive the bus.
Well, I want the good flow. Good flow.
So that's what I'm doing. I do the segue. You got to trust my 1,800 episode experience here. I'm doing it right now, which is, I'm telling you, we recorded last week and we talked about the Strait of Hormuz. And we talked about how America had taken it over, and we left. And then literally 10 minutes later, I got a news alert that it was closed again. And it's I said to you,
it was open, it was closed,
right.
and it was insane.
So
but why are we talking about it? I thought we were going to talk about Canada and USMCA.
No, I'm literally, Nick, I'm literally going in the order that you sent it, which is right now we're going to talk, if you don't mind, about Hormuz escalation.
Well,
it is next on your list after Alberta.
Last thing.
Well, you wrote it in the wrong order.
No, I did not.
You want to check your notes? I copied and pasted it, Nick. But I do.
Copy and pasted it.
Here's a quick update on your Friday morning. So, Iran fired on 3 ships and seized 2 of them in the Strait of Hormuz. This was on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Right? And then it was still closed, of course. And then Trump said that the U.S. would continue to block Iran's ports, though it did extend the ceasefire indefinitely, because that's the Trump move. And then Donald Trump said,
it's the Trump move, because you know what? Here's the thing: you want something bad to happen. I think people want something bad to happen. He's saying what he's saying. What he's saying. Well, you know what? Everybody's on this guy like he's doing the wrong thing. No. But
I'm glad there's a ceasefire. I like ceasefires.
Yeah, that's right.
I like ceasefires.
I mean, we're promoting peace here. We don't want bad things to happen.
But save that step of saying 2 weeks, because it's indefinitely. So fine. Then of course,
not necessarily, but anyways,
envoys from Israel and Lebanon are going to meet in Washington. I guess they did it yesterday, but there were peace negotiations there. But here's a little tally before we get your thoughts on all this. This war has killed about 3,300 people in Iran, about 2,300 people in Lebanon, 23 people in Israel, and more than a dozen in other Gulf countries. And 15 Israeli soldiers and 13 U.S. service members have died. I just want to make sure we don't forget as we talk about this. It's not a video game, okay? There are actually human beings suffering, so I just want to make sure we keep that perspective. But what are your thoughts on this Hormuz escalation?
Okay, well, which point? So the people that are dying or what?
Well, no, I want to know about the Strait of Hormuz.
So what happens is here they blew everything up in Iran. They targeted their military capabilities and everything like that. They destroyed their leadership or killed the leadership off, and now they're bringing the battle. It's becoming an economic tug of war now, and I think and that's where the battle is being held, Strait of Hormuz right now. So we have to win this battle somehow. So whether it's through negotiation or whether it's through a blockade by the U.S., I think the U.S. is in control, not Iran. There are isolated incidents that the Iranians do, and that probably can continue for quite a long time. But a complete blockade will capitulate Iran eventually. So I think you just got to stay the course and stop being so fickle like the rest of all these people. If we were fickle during World War II, where would we be?
Well, yeah, on World War II,
the Nazis would have dominated Europe.
Probably the last.
So you know what? You have to
bad guy war ever.
You have to be strong, okay? And we went into so many stupid places, like, we went into
Vietnam.
Afghanistan. We stayed in Afghanistan.
Korea.
Well, Korea was necessary. We were fighting communism. Even Vietnam was the right move too. I think I'm a pro sort of Nixon supporter, and I believe he did the right thing. It was actually Kennedy who started in Vietnam, and the cause was to fight communism.
Oh no, the American policy was to fight communism.
Yeah, and it was necessary. Okay. They left Vietnam though, and that was like a disaster war, by the way. But I would say Vietnam, Iraq was a joke. We shouldn't have been there. There's a lot of things that Obama did which wasn't good. But here's the situation. I think Iran is a bad country, and overall, I think we have to if we have an opportunity to make the world better, let's do it. That's what I say. And if you have to, use war powers to do that, and sort of take that nation, sort of down a little bit, and if that's what we have to do, let's do it. I'm a big supporter of that. I didn't really articulate that.
Well, let's bring it back to Canada just to close out here, because we'll talk again in 2 weeks, and so much changes.
You never said what your point was there.
Oh no, I don't. I see where you and I differ here is that I don't trust, as far as I can throw them, Donald Trump or Benjamin Netanyahu. I trust neither as far as I could throw them, with regards to keeping this world so safe and secure and prosperous for all. I don't trust them at all. So what I do is I watch and I hope.
Well, but what have they done? Let me ask you a question. So maybe you don't trust them, but is there something that you see that you didn't like what they did?
Well, this particular
if you take the personalities away, was it bad to kill the leadership of Iran?
I don't trust that this entire exposition is because the media and the people of America were so heavily engaged in the Epstein files. Like, I don't trust that this is not 100% to distract the American people.
That is a huge conspiracy
from the Epstein. No, I don't think that's huge. I think if you poll 100 people on the Bloor Young
I guess you
subway
got to protect
today,
all the Democrats from Epstein.
Well, see, that's it. This is the difference between the right and the left. The Epstein file, I don't care what party you're a part of. I simply seek the truth. You seem to forgive things if it happens to Trump, but go at it if it happens to Bill Clinton.
No. I don't
have an allegiance to a party.
I don't mind Bill Clinton.
Don't trust Donald Trump.
I don't mind Bill Clinton. You don't like Trump, and I know you don't.
No, I don't like Trump. I'm not going to hide it. I don't like Trump. But here, I want to tie it back to the good people that we know and love in this country of Canada before we say goodbye here, which is basically the results of this Iran war is that we have a fuel shortage, and that I'm wondering your thoughts on how will be affected by this fuel shortage.
Well, the corporations and governments are going to do what they always do. They screw the people. They're going to raise airline fees and stuff like that. That's what usually happens. And now we're going to probably reduce. Carney's going to wake up and reduce some taxes on jet fuel and stuff like that. So. It's the same BS. What are you doing?
Same shit.
What are you looking at?
I like to look at you when I talk to you. I can't just stare at a screen the whole time. I want to look at you.
You weren't looking at me.
Does it bother? What was I looking at?
You were looking at something else.
Oh, no. I'm preparing the closing theme. See,
okay, wait a minute. But we never talked about USMCA or anything like that.
Well, because it wasn't on the list, brother.
It is on the list.
No, it's not. Talk about it right now.
Okay.
It wasn't on my list. I copied and pasted your list from WhatsApp.
There were some preconditions in... with the U.S. that were proposed, and I guess Carney's against it. So,
let me hear it, because while you do that...
You know what? Forget it. You're not prepared. I'm going to win.
In real time, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going into my Nick Ieni's chat. Did you see it?
Yeah, it's right here.
Okay, read that list.
Carney versus U.S. Strong opener. You fucked up.
Oh, I copied from gravy plane to fuel shortage. Okay, I actually did miss the first. I have to apologize to Nick.
Don't apologize to me. Apologize to the audience.
Well, do you like how Mark Carney is handling these negotiations?
No, not necessarily. I think there's a couple of things that sort of, if you look at Mexico's leader, she's very quietly not antagonizing the administration, and she's negotiating behind the scenes. So that's a good quiet move. I think Carney was very open about how he feels about everything, as a liberal, of course, and a
liberal who's sort of ruling like a progressive conservative,
as a global elitist as well. But now where he's in this position where it's very antagonistic against Canada. Now, I'm not saying he's the cause of that completely. He could have chose his words more cautiously, more carefully. But at the end of the day, I think he has no choice but to say no and stand up to them, because it would be a bad negotiation. So I think they said something about give us access back, give us our alcohol back, we want access to dairy. I think there were some other issues there. I don't know if you didn't really have the time to read about this or prepare for this.
Well, I'm listening to you right now.
But I would say that, to just counter Trump, he's got to do it for sure, and he's doing it, I think. But I'm not sure if he's doing a great job overall with the U.S. right now.
In your heart of hearts, do you feel like Canada would be in a better position if Pierre Poilievre were leading the negotiations?
That's a good question. Very good question.
That's actually the $1 trillion question.
Well,
because that was the alternative.
We don't know because he wasn't elected. Okay.
And now there's a majority.
So we won't know for some time. Now, I think he's going to be a good leader one day, and he's going to save this country. And it won't be Carney.
Wow. See, in Carney, I'm going to put my trust right now. And
that's just me saying something.
Well, what's nice is every 2 weeks you and I can, touch base and check each other's pulse. See check our temperatures. How's that? We'll check our temperatures. Okay, Nick, love these catch-ups. We're going to do it again in 2 weeks, buddy.
I love it.
And next time I won't forget the first item on your list.
Yeah, come on.
I thought it was just like a intro.
You got to be ready, man. You got to be ready.
Well, thank you for listening to Mike and Nick. Left versus right. I don't love the title Left versus Right, but you know what?
No, you got to do it. Got to keep it.
It's your show.
It's not my show. It's our show. It's our show.
Measure the amount of words I say versus yours.
It's our show.
It's our show. Please share, like, and subscribe, everybody. We will see you again in precisely 2 weeks.